We've all been there, right? You pop into the store for just one thing, milk, maybe some bread, and you walk out with a cart full of stuff you had absolutely no intention of buying. It almost feels like your shopping cart just fills itself up. So what's going on? Well, that's what we're going to break down. We're pulling back the curtain on the invisible psychology that shapes pretty much every purchase you make.
So, let's just ask the big question right up front. Does your shopping cart have a mind of its own? And the answer is, well, kinda, yeah. But it's not the cart's mind we're talking about. It's the mind of the store designer. And believe me, they know exactly how to guide your hand.
Okay, let's dive right in with the most basic part of any store, the shelf. It seems so simple, but where a product is placed can mean the difference between it flying off the shelf or just sitting there collecting dust. The number one rule is so simple. Eye level is buy level. And think about it. It's no coincidence, is it? Why do those fancy, big-name brands always seem to be sitting right there, perfectly at eye level, almost like they're begging you to just grab them? That's not luck. It's a very carefully crafted strategy, and it's built on a core principle of how our brains work. And that principle is called response effort. It's a fancy way of saying something we all know. At our core, we're all just a little bit lazy. The less energy something takes, physically and mentally, the more likely we are to do it. Reaching straight ahead? Easy. Bending all the way down or stretching way up? Ugh, that's more work. And retailers are absolutely counting on that. To see just how powerful this tiny detail is, let's look at this really cool experiment. In a supermarket over in Reykjavik, Iceland, researchers decided to put this theory to the test. All they did was move a single brand of potato chips between 3 different shelves. That's it. Same price, same chips, same everything else. And the results? They were absolutely crystal clear. When the chips were way up on the high shelf, they made up only about 3.3% of sales. Down on the low shelf, it was 4%. But on that middle shelf, the path of least resistance, sales more than doubled to 7.5%. It's the exact same product, but just changing its location totally changed the outcome. And this just brilliantly shows a universal human habit. Some internal research from Walmart found that our eyes are just naturally drawn to the center. Shoppers actually looked at brands in the middle of a shelf 9 times more than the ones tucked away in the corners. We don't really scan everything, we focus. And you can bet retailers are going to make sure we're focused on their most profitable items. All right, so we've got the single shelf down. Now let's zoom out a bit and see how this idea applies to the whole store. The next piece of prime real estate we need to talk about is the end cap. Those big displays at the end of every single aisle? And let's be clear, these are not just some extra shelves. An end cap is a strategic weapon. It's placed there specifically to interrupt your flow, grab your attention, and trigger those unplanned, "Ooh, I'll just grab one" impulse buys. And man, are they effective. First off, their visibility is just impossible to ignore. They're perfect for sales or seasonal stuff, like all that Halloween candy. You don't even have to walk down the aisle to see them. They just reach out and grab you as you walk by, which makes them the perfect trap for an impulse buy. Honestly, the best way to think about them is this. End caps are basically the billboards of the grocery store. They're big, they're bright, and they are smack dab in your path. You literally can't help but see them.
But here's where it gets really, really interesting. The store layout? That's only half of the story. The other half is what's going on inside your own head. The real game changer isn't just what the store is doing. It's the mindset you bring with you when you walk through the door.
The key idea here is something called attentional breadth. It sounds complicated, but it's really just the scope of your focus. Are you totally zeroed in on a target, or is your attention kind of spread out, taking in the whole scene? This one little psychological state can completely change your entire shopping trip. So let's break that down. When you have narrow attention, you're in tunnel vision mode. You're on a mission, right? You've got your list, and you're filtering out all the noise. But with broad attention, it's like you've switched to a wide-angle lens. You're exploring, you're open to discovering new things, and you're noticing everything around you. So, the big question is, does this mental state actually change your physical behavior? I mean, does your mindset literally drive your feet? Well, some researchers wanted to find out. And they got pretty creative. They equipped shoppers with eye-tracking glasses and pedometers so they could measure exactly what people were looking at and how far they walked. They put people into either a narrow or a broad mindset, and then they just let them shop. The results were, whoa, they were pretty staggering. The
The shoppers who are put into that broad exploratory mindset, they scanned 23% more of the shelf areas than the focus group. Their eyes were literally more open to everything the store had to offer.
And it wasn't just their eyes. Their feet followed. That same group walked, on average, 26% farther around the store, physically exploring way more aisles and departments.
It all comes down to this super simple but really powerful equation. More looking around plus more walking around equals more unplanned purchases. It makes perfect sense. The more you see, the more you're tempted to buy.
So now that we know about the invisible architecture of the store and the psychology of our own minds, how do we take back control of our shopping carts? Well, here is a simple 5-point checklist to help you shop a whole lot smarter.
First up, know the buy zone. Always remember, that middle shelf is prime real estate. So make it a habit to look up high and down low. That's often where you'll find the better deals. Second, beware the end caps. See them for what they are, impulse traps, and just ask yourself one question. Did I actually come here for this? Third, define your mission. Decide before you even walk in the door if this is a surgical strike or a casual browsing trip. That sets your mindset from the start. Fourth, and this is so important, make a list. A list is your single best weapon for staying focused. And finally, number 5, just recognize your own mindset. If you feel yourself in that open, exploratory mood, that's okay. Just be a little more mindful of what's actually going into your cart and, of course, your budget.
Look, this store is literally designed to take you for a ride, to gently steer you toward decisions that benefit them. But now you know the secrets. You can see the architecture for what it is. So the next time you grab a cart, there's really only one question. Are you going to be the driver or are you going to be the passenger?